SMT Nation, we back. Nation, T-Mobile is speaking at the most recent UBS conference. It's an investor conference in which questions can be asked to CEOs and get some insights on the business operations, the financials, anything that's going on with the company. And there are some network disclosures that I want to cover here in today's video from T-Mobile CEO Mike Sievert that are really insightful and really good for us to kind of inventory as we move forward into the 2024 new year. All right, so I'll be sure to link the article from Monica Alvin, Fierce Wireless, as she covered a lot of what was said at the conference. That link can be found in the description, and ways to support the SMT to show your appreciation for all the great content here on the channel can be found in the description as well. All right, so let's talk first about this networking element. We all know how important spectrum, right, radio frequency licenses is to carriers, right? They spend tens of billions of dollars at every major auction, every single time there is one, for these spectrum licenses. It's the lifeblood of the networking, right? And we know that T-Mobile specifically has used an analogy of layer cake to describe their network. All right, so what they mean by that is there's three major classes of frequencies. You have low band, which offers good reach and indoor penetration. The limitation there is you don't get a lot of speed because there's not a lot of bandwidth. Then you have the mid band, right, part of the layer cake, which offers kind of a best of both worlds scenarios where you get more bandwidth, therefore you get more speed. The frequency is a little bit higher, so you don't get the indoor and propagation qualities and range as you do low band, right? So a trade-off. And then you have the millimeter wave. Some people call it high band, right? The top of the layer cake. It's a much more surgical, calculated build. Ultra high frequencies that don't really work well indoors from outdoors, right? It's just the physics of it all, right? But you get tons of bandwidth and it creates incredible capacity for those needs, right? The fastest connections and stuff like that. Anyways, what T-Mobile did in securing their future was closing the T-Mobile and Sprint merger, in which they basically got 200 megahertz of spectrum from Sprint, right? The N41 piece is from Sprint. Also, don't forget about the massive amounts of N25, right? The mid-band that they also have with PCS and the 1900 megahertz. But anyways, to kind of put this all, into perspective, that's been the focus of T-Mobile. Now, they talk about layer cake, but they don't do a layer cake in a true sense. Like, they don't really build to millimeter wave. There was a point where they did have some network plans in doing so, but they really peeled it back as they lightened their capex and focused on acquiring more mid-band spectrum because it was more meaningful and aligned with their future capex spending, right? And we know that T-Mobile doesn't really have access to 10 gig circuits like that to really truly build millimeter wave. So it made sense for them to just go all in on the mid-band piece. So not the truest layer cake, like, say, for example, what Verizon does more substantially with millimeter wave. Anyways, the quotes from Mike Sievert. Really important that we have adequate supply of both to be able to continue this incredible advantage we have on the network side. He's talking about low band and mid band, and we know that they've been working with Comcast to secure more 600 megahertz in a lease to buy option. We know that they've continued to work with companies like Columbia Capital to get more low band. And then, of course, they've been at every auction buying spectrum from DoD to C-band, and I'm sure they'll be involved in the next 3.1 gigahertz auction as well, right? Now, the one thing we haven't seen from T-Mobile, we haven't seen them build to the 3.45 gigahertz, the DoD, or the C-band. We haven't seen gear go up on any type of scale. What T-Mobile has been waiting for are dual band radios that efficiently allow them to build that part of the network. You want radios that can, capitalize on both frequencies. And according to T-Mobile CEO Mike Sievert, they have accomplished that. They now have those radios. Now, I will tell you guys, there's only one company that has that radio for T-Mobile, and that is that is Ericsson, and it's not Nokia, right? T-Mobile works with both companies, both radio vendors, and Nokia does not have that solution in my case, in a Nokia market for T-Mobile, we're still seeing just N41 going up on cell sites. We're not seeing a 2-in-1 3 gigahertz radio because that's only going to be in Ericsson markets. I don't see anything from Nokia yet. So we now have an update, a major one. Ericsson markets for T-Mobile are going to start seeing a dual band radio on top of what's already up there for T-Mobile. So they got the N41. You guys will see the larger panel for the lower frequencies. They're putting 2 radios behind that one. Now you're going to see a new all-in-one antenna that has 2 radio component capability in it. So for the 3.45 and the 3.7, T-Mobile has, in some cases, I think 40 megahertz of C-band, and then additionally 20, I think maybe up to 30 megahertz of DoD in some places too. Don't quote me on that. I forget their license descriptors across the country. It's different from place to place, but I think it's at least 20 megahertz in most of the places they have it. That is an additional 60 or so megahertz of bandwidth going up on air. It's going to support their network. Remember, a dual purpose network with both the mobile user and the 5G home internet customer, a growing consumer base, and each customer using more data every year. So this is going to be imperative that they scale this in 2024. And according to the CEO, they now have that hardware. So they'll be deploying this very soon. So Ericsson markets first. I don't know when Nokia is going to have a solution. I don't know. I've already speculated in another video and made the prediction. T-Mobile is going to do what AT&T did. I think they're going to follow. T-Mobile is basically AT&T Junior, and they're going to make a deal with Ericsson and do the same thing with national RAN, and O-RAN, and have the solutions that they require to meet all their spectral needs across their network. Now, the last piece of this network update about Dish, right? 800 megahertz frequency. Dish wants to buy it. They've made an agreement. They've renegotiated it. The DOJ was part of that. T-Mobile is giving Dish until April 1st of 2024 to pay up, or else what's going to end up happening is T-Mobile has the authority to then auction the spectrum to the highest bidder and make that sale happen. Dish has already put in a deposit of $100 million for that deal, so if they fail to close it, they're out on that money. And, that probably keeps Dish out of the running for the re-auction of it. It behooves them to pay for that spectrum, get it, deploy it, use it on their radios and on their network to expand their capacity and coverage across the country. And you're not going to get spectrum at a better price in 2024 than you did 4 years ago at the onset of the merger. So those are the network updates from T-Mobile. They're pretty big ones. Good insight and future-looking commentary from the CEO and our take here on the SMT. If you have any comments or responses to anything covered in today's video, let me hear them. Let me see them down in the comment section below. Well, the voice of the people, the SMT Nation, let your voice be heard.